Oh, Mother Superior, what are we going to do with all these trans kids? They're going to ruin our school. She tears her dress and cuts her hair. He plays with girls' toys. She dances with other girls and often dresses like a boy. And not in his school uniform, his cross-dressing brings him joy. I even heard her singing in a bass voice. He's skipping showers at the gym, but biosex is real. Gender identity is false, but God's word is the deal. I hate to have to say it, facts don't obey feels. Trans kids are a gross distraction. If I had to say anything on their behalfs, trannies makes me laugh. How do you solve a problem like a trans kid? How do you catch a freak and pin it down? How do you find a word that means trans kids? A freak in nature, abomination, a clown. Oh, darlings, you don't have to solve us. Because we're not the problems.
So gender is just a social construct, and believing in God is a crutch. When you mix them together and give them a whirl, what do you got? Atheist T-Girl!
Hello everyone, it's Atheist T-Girl, also known as Alanis. I decided that Pride Month is too much of a good time to waste on those at the NIFB. I've done quite a bit more studying on them, and I probably will do one or two more videos, but this month it's about Pride. And so I decided I was going to tell y'all the story of how I came out and my history. Now at first it doesn't seem like my introduction has anything to do with this video, but it does. Last week, the Catholic Church issued a document telling churches how to deal with people who are trans. And a summary of it was basically, trans identities aren't real. Growing up in a Southern Baptist church, I had to deal with this kind of attitude. I didn't really know what trans people were. And if the Catholic Church keeps this up, there's going to be another generation the same. When you look at trans women and their stories about how they came out, often they have the same narrative. Oh, ever since I was born, I knew there was something different about me. I would, when no one was around, dress up in my sister's clothes. I'd get into my mom's perfume. I just wasn't a boy. I knew I was a girl. And that is a valid trans narrative. And it's the one you're often likely to hear because that's what the doctors expected to hear. For years, if you wanted to get hormones, that was the narrative you had to tell. A lot of trans people out there have had to lie about their past in order to get accepted by the medical community. It's starting to change, but not fast enough. There are other narratives about how people realize they're trans, how people came out, that don't fit this nice little box that the medical community made for us. And I'm one of them. I do have a couple low memories of when I was really young. My mom telling me, hey, you're not standing right, you're standing like a girl. But nothing too out there. Being a young kid and not knowing better, I just listened and I did the best to be the boy they wanted me to be. And to be honest, I can't say that I knew for sure I wasn't a boy. I thought it was a very sucky boy, and that I didn't know how to be a boy, and it was hard being a boy, and I didn't like being a boy. But I can't say that at a younger age I knew I was a girl. I grew up in a very strict Southern Baptist household, and I didn't have exposure to the LGBT people. The internet didn't really start till I was around 15. Well, it may have been around a little bit, but you know, it took a while to get to me. And I had no idea what trans was. The closest I ever heard about trans were jokes from my dad about Chaz Bono and Jerry Springer. Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. I was a really good kid. I listened to what my parents said. I did everything right. I wasn't one to go around sneaking and watching channels I shouldn't be watching or shows that I shouldn't watch. So it was really by accident one day when I was home flipping through the channels that I came upon a Jerry Springer show. And I can't tell you what made me stop. Maybe it's because I was around 12 and hormones were starting to kick in and there was a bunch of women in bikinis on the stage. Maybe it was the title. Which one of these lovely women is a she-male? Oh, it was, looking back, one of the disgusting, ugly ways to be introduced to trans people. But it stuck with me. I remember looking up at all those women, not knowing which one was trans, and something in me said, wow, I don't have to be a boy. And for the next year or two, I used to make a joke, hey, I'm going to be on Jerry Springer, and I'm going to be a person who gets transgender surgery and becomes a woman, but I'm going to be a lesbian. That's actually what I am now, but at the time, what little I learned about trans from my church was trans women were gay guys who liked guys so much that they decided to get surgery for them. Yes, it's stupid, it's an idiotic idea, but it still persists out there. And it shoved down all that I, for a moment, saw deep inside me. Puberty was tough. And yeah, everyone says that, and it's true for everyone. But for me, there were things that I should have seen. But again, because I was locked down and had no idea what we were supposed to, or what a trans person was, I was just confused. I knew about the birds and bees and how babies were born, but I pretended I didn't know because you have that thing you do, and while I was really attracted to women, using what I had down there like I was supposed to just really didn't seem like something I would want to do. Now, maybe it should have been a sign once I started getting old enough to, well, let's put it politely, self-pleasure. Most of my, if you want to call them fantasies or pleasuring material in my mind had nothing to do with sex. Well, in a way, it had nothing to do with me doing a woman. It had a lot with me being a woman, with another woman. And again, looking back, that's like, whoa, maybe you should have figured it out sooner. In fact, the first porn I ever rented was an anime. And it was about a guy who got turned into a girl. And no, it's not the one you're thinking of. And I rented it full knowing that that's what it was about. But still, not knowing what trans people were, being told that gay people were an abomination, they were evil, that all of them were pedophiles, it was a big obstacle. And I took all that and again shoved it deep into me. Yeah, that's what she said. A couple years go by and I do what I'm supposed to do. I graduate high school, I go to college, never really dated because it was hard to be out there for people when you're not even fully out there with yourself. But the internet was starting to help people, and I found someone who wanted to get married, and we ended up falling in love and getting married. And the first 5 years of our marriage, they were good. I loved her, she loved me. Again, without getting too graphic, there were some signs when it came to the bedroom that I should have been a bit more about. But overall, it wasn't too bad. And then something happened. As I said, I did not know how to be a man. And so I did what I thought everyone did, look to their dad and be as much like their dad as possible. And I know a lot of young men use their parents, their dad, as an example. But for me, it was an extreme. My nickname as a kid was Old Man. And people were always telling me how much I reminded them of my dad. Because I fashioned everything I knew about being a guy to him. And around the 5-year mark of my marriage, I got the news that my dad was a pedophile. And he went to jail. And everything I had built myself around, every part of who I wanted to try to be like, now was taken away from me. I didn't want to be anything like him. And I have in my memory of one point where I basically said, I don't even want to be a guy. There was this strong resistance and fight back to it. Basically, this thought went through my mind, well, too bad. You have a kid on the way, and you're married. You can't even think about anything like that. You're a guy just like him. Get over it. And like all the other times of my life, I took that not wanting to be a guy and shoved it down. Now, there's a problem with shoving stuff into you. And no, I'm not talking about what you see on the ER shows. If you take emotions and you put them inside you and don't let them out, especially strong ones, stuff starts to happen. Around the 5-year mark, I started changing. I went through a period of not caring about my job. I went through a period about not caring about my looks at all. One day I would shave my hair one way, shave it the other way. Just had a whole bunch of anger inside me. Tore up my home office once. It was a bit disturbing. And what emerged from that was an asshole. I finally found a way I could be a guy and not have all the trouble I was having. And that was by taking all my emotions, putting them down, and pretty much only letting a little bit of love from my family out, and the rest just anger and cool detachment. Well, that didn't work. My ex, she had issues with PTSD from stuff that happened to her when she was young. And when I look back now to what I was like, I hate that person because I was not helpful at all. Everything needed to be about me, and she needed to just adjust to me rather than both of us work together and adjust to each other. And in particular, one of the worst things I did was I grew up in a family of pranksters where we would often hide in a closet, hide underneath the bed or something, and jump out and scare you. All in all, that's not a terrible thing, but when the person you're scaring has PTSD and they repeatedly tell you, please don't do this, it's freaking me out, and your response is, too bad, you need to get used to it. That's what my family did. I'm going to keep doing it. You're an asshole. Between that and other stuff, one day I came home from work and my ex wasn't there. I got a call later telling me I had a week to find a place to live. I moved out, but of course, because we had a kid, we both tried to be in each other's lives to make sure our kid was good. And I wanted to have her back, so I went into a lot of self-searching. And the more I self-searched, the more I realized that the nice, open person I was as a kid was not who I was now. And I could draw a line to how I got there. And I started letting myself be more emotional, to allow myself to express my feelings, to allow myself to think about things I wouldn't ever allow myself to think about. And my ex was seeing a difference. And come Christmas Eve, I was spending the night at her house because we wanted to have our kid have both of us there in the morning. And I asked her, you know, you're seeing a difference in me. Why can't I come back? And she told me it was because she was gay. My reaction was a lot of laughter, not upset laughter. I just thought, hey, I'm living an episode of Friends. But there was a lot of stuff not happy or funny about it. She had known for over a year. But because of how I was acting, because of the strict religious background I grew up in, she had been afraid to tell me. The time away was probably the best thing because when she told me, I accepted it. And I was there for her. I even helped her get ready for dates. And on my end, I'm still working on myself. but still wanting her back, knowing it's impossible because I'm a guy, she's a girl. And then one night, I had this brilliant flash of insight. If she wanted to be a girl, I was going to be a girl for her. That is a terrible idea. Instantly after I thought that, I had this big, huge alarm go through my head. You don't change something like that for someone else. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Wait, why didn't you tell me you don't change your gender? Why didn't you tell me, dude, that's a stupid idea, you're a guy? And the same low voice that had told me you don't change that for someone else said, well, because you've always wanted to be a girl, you were a girl. And I was like, no, I'm not. Wait. The time I... Oh. Oh my. And yeah, it was like a giant sledgehammer hit me full on straight in the face. And I saw all the little instances in my life and all the times that I had almost come out, all the times there had been signs, and all the stuff I had done to hide it. And it was blindingly obvious. I'm trans. Well, the very next day, my ex asked me to come back. She's like, I know I'm gay, but I like you and we get along. And, you know, I want you back. And I had a choice to make. If I were to come back, I knew I would have to put away who I was. And again, go back to being that person I had been before we split. I mean, yeah, I might get another couple of good years before the anger and other things got too bad. Or I could tell her the truth, and I knew if I did, I would almost certainly lose her. For months, every thought in my head had been, how can I get her back? And yet, within hours of realizing who I was, it was an easy choice. I told her right then, I was like, I'm willing to try it, but there's something you need to know about me. And I came out to her. We did try, but divorces are generally not one thing. And there was stuff that we both had that just didn't work with each other anymore. We were, in many ways, completely different people than what we had been when we first got married 10 years ago. So, we parted on good terms. And I found myself at 35, divorced, what I considered a freak of nature, a sinner, because even though I was starting to not believe in Christianity anymore, there were still years and years of training on me, telling me that being a trans person was evil. The funny thing is, I could accept my wife being gay and think she was still a great person, but couldn't think the same about myself. And we're hitting a very long time. So this is about where I will stop this part of the story. Maybe when I hit 200, I'll talk about how I started transitioning and some of the consequences, because there was highs and lows. But I do want to end this on a positive note. As intimidating and as bad as it seemed at the time, I would not take it back. I'm me. I've done things I never thought possible. Stuff he never would have done. I've met people I never would have been friends with, who are now my friends. I've been able to put behind me an evil, gross religion. And part of it was because I was trans. And yes, I have problems. Everyone does. But I'm happy. And often the last 5-6 years of my life seem like the first time I've really been alive. And to tie it back to the introduction, the Catholic Church with their declaration is going to be doing the same to a new generation of people like me. And it's not something we need to do. Oh, and as for the title of this video, it's Pride Month, so please forgive me my self-aggrandizing title, but a legend is born. Thank you everyone for watching. I don't know if this is one you'll like or hate, but I had a lot of fun doing it, a lot of tears as well. I'll try to edit some of those out. Might leave some in because I want there to be the emotion I felt. I want to be able to have people see that trans people are real life, real people. Be sure to like and subscribe and ding-a-ling-a-ling that bell so that you get notifications when I put up new videos. If you'd like to leave comments, please do. Anything transphobic, homophobic, or just plain evil, I will delete. This is my comments, and I put up with enough trash in the meat space. I don't have to put up with it on my YouTube channel. And if you'd like to talk more to me or see more about myself, I am always on Twitter at atheist_T_girl. And I want to tell everyone, thank you for watching me. And I hope you all have a great day.